Start building the home of your future today. Smart Home.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Wednesday, uh, October the 28th at 7 p.m. on Thursday evening. I know there are storms all across the country, well, at least through the Midwest and up north. And we just got a little brush of it here in the South. So we pray that all is well with everyone as we're preparing to go into lesson actually number 4 of getting out of debt. How to get out of debt. It's the 10 Commandments for getting out of debt. I hope you're interested. I hope your children are interested at least. If they are not, you can um, infer to them and inform them. Go ahead and share with them, invite them, and that they will learn some lessons, perhaps that we all be able to break um, financial curses and bondages. So, good evening, Mother George and Reverend George. Good to see you today. And so, I'm Dr. White, and this is Minister Felder, our virtual minister of Destiny Church. And we're just going to give you a little bit more time to go ahead and get started. How's the weather there in California, Minister Felder?
I thought it was cold because I was sitting inside. I went outside, it's like 80 degrees. So it's
80 degrees.
right. It's
Wow.
hot. No rain. I mean, northern parts of California is having all the rain, but here in San Diego, we're not having the rain. So hot.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we starting to get a little chilly over there on this side. The little fall is creeping in on us pretty good. So, well, we'll go ahead and get started. I want to welcome those of you that's in coming in from YouTube, Apple TV, Twitch TV, and of course Facebook, and the various group pages that we have with Facebook. So we're going to go ahead and jump on in this lesson. I'm going to be sharing a little bit while Minister Farrell go ahead and start the lesson off for today as we deal with the first 10 commandments. We're only going to deal, I'm going to let you know right off the bat, we're not going to do all the 10. They're actually steps, but they're commandments. We're calling them commandments. And so what we're going to do, though, we're only going to cover about three today. Come back and pick up 2 more next week, and just try to get through it as much as we can, as fast as we can. But we also want to be very detailed at the same time, and make sure that we putting out that all that God has have for us to put out. All right. Hey, Tijuana Roundtree, good to see you. All right. Okay, Minister Felder.
First, I want to say, first lady, yes, it's 80 degrees and it's hot out here, but good. I'm grateful. As we get started, the 10 Commandments, getting out of debt, like your pastor said, part 1. It's already mentioned within the lessons prior to that the United States personal debt is the number 1 contributing factor to divorce, 4 times more than any other factor. It has been, and you got your book. We on page 27, and as I go along, we'll give you the answers. It has been estimated in the first answer, almost 80% of divorced couples between the ages of 20 and 30 cite finances problem as the primary cause of their divorce. So we know, with that being said, that's a lot of the divorce rate is high because of finances, and we trying to learn better. That's what we do in the 10 Commandments, so we can learn how to keep relationships together, to share with our children, and to know that that's what we do. Sorry about that. And to know that we do to get out of finances, we got to learn the biblical principles of getting out of financial debt. So that if we learn, we can pass it on to our children, and then they can pass it on to their kids. Because we can get out of debt. It seems impossible because we don't climb in that hole. But tonight, we're going to share you biblically how to get out of debt.
Hey, so that's a big number. 80% is a big number. So I would I would say that it's probably a good idea to kind of have your finances straight before you go into marriage during the engagement part. And as a matter of fact, that's one of the premarital things that I go over with persons that are engaged. And be honest, do you recommend that you reveal everything to the person you engaged to, or looking to hey Pam, hope you're feeling better?
Yes.
So
you know what, Pastor answered it. I think you should be an open book, not, because if you're going into a relationship together, you need to bring something to the plate, and everybody got to bring something to the table. So if I'm bringing just the dessert, what about the main course? In a sense, you got to remember, you got to rely. It's a team. So I think that if you're going through, if you yourself is having financial struggles, that should have been something that they talk to in counseling, and be real about it, and don't hide it from your mate.
Well, when you say main dessert, you know, ain't but one dessert on our minds most of the time. And when we get in there, we tying our ankles to a big old ball, whether it's a he or she. And so good. Glad to see you feeling better. Hello, Amanda. Yeah. So have financial difficulties weighed on your previous marriage? Why
now, on my previous marriage, Tawana, on my previous marriage, that was something that he was solid in. I didn't have to worry about the finances. Even though it was like other issues, finances wasn't one of them. That we had a good connection when it came to finance. I got spoiled, to be honest with you, through that finances. I know everybody is not as fortunate as that, but I was actually blessed in that area. I didn't pay bills past on my own till the year 2000. And I was like, how did he do that?
Wait. Till the year 2000.
Yes.
How long was it?
I mean, it had been since 1990, and it was more than that. It was my daughter born in 89, so it had to be like 1987 to 2000. Is when I first, as an adult, started paying bills on my own.
Well, let me ask our audience, anybody out there that's listening right now, as we're talking about Minister Felder, I see a lot just coming in. When we're talking about getting out of debt, and the 10 Commandments is actually 10 steps. And in the introduction, we finding out that 80% is the stat for is divorces. Being in debt is the reason. 80% is the reason for divorces. This is what I come on, man. Can we get to halfway? Can we get out the introduction before y'all start tripping? Yeah, you're right though, man. That's the dessert. That's all we worried about. Yeah. Until them bills get hit and getting real bad, then you don't want to see none of that.
Exactly.
Real quick, Sister White, let me tell you what y'all don't want to see. Okay, well anyway, I don't want to repeat it, but whatever Amanda just said, she know what she said. We don't want to see none of that once we get in debt. But what I want to ask the audience is, there's this thing now I've seen on a couple of TV shows where what that mean?
Killing myself laughing.
Oh, I'm real old. One of the same age as me, but she hip. So she be out there. She know what's going on. You gotta teach me to one of this stuff. So this is my question I'm trying to get to. Y'all leave me alone. What I'm trying to ask is, I've seen some movies and stuff, people asking these reality shows, people gonna ask the dude for their credit report on the first or second date down the line. Would y'all do that? Would y'all ask for somebody for their credit report? Well, Mr. Felder, why they getting the nerves to answer so they won't scare nobody? Would you do that since you now single?
Yes, I would, because
and
if we plan it, I would ask for their credit, because you know what?
For no credit report.
Yeah, I would. I need to know your credit score, because that's important.
She learned since then. Put it in the chat so they'll know what you talk with.
Yeah, yes, Amanda said yes, sir. Because that when I was dating, Pat, that wasn't a concern because it was like a lust or love thing that you seen, and you didn't care what they
It
was
was the
bringing.
things Amanda was talking about.
Yeah, you would bring it to the tables. It was, especially yes, first lady, you learned since then because we blindly go into things because we don't know. We want to be. It's that love thing that takes over our senses. Okay, Sister George said she would. So
okay, man, that's good. I mean, that's interesting, I should say.
Yeah.
So now the other question, y'all teaching y'all young ladies that now, and granddaughters and granddaughters and stuff.
Yes.
What about the men? What if I ask y'all for your finances?
And it should be fair. It work both parts. If you ask a man,
what if somebody asks you, will you go off and leave the table and all that stuff and make him pay for it because you mad and all that?
No, I would. What I'm bringing, I want to be transparent. If I'm asking you to bring something to the table, believe me, I got mine already to the table.
Okay, so what if it's messed up? Then what?
We just
I show it to you and it's like a 400 or something.
We just couldn't be together. I would send you somewhere to get your credit numbers up.
Amanda, what would you do? Pam, what you do?
Right.
Tawana, I know you what you gonna do, Tawana.
She said, Pam said married for error is not since I've been married for error is not an issue.
This is what else? What else? What would you? Okay, I wish your daughter was on, Pam. Let's see what she say. She almost. I feel like she my daughter too already. All right. Okay, let's get on then, Mr. Felder. Go ahead.
Okay, because see, however, debt is not the real corporate, as the writer teaches us. It's the only symptom of far deeper problem like envy, greed, financial impatience, trying to impress other people. And I find that out. She said I had to let him go.
You ain't let nobody go, man. You just talking.
And that's what we learn because we want to keep up with the Joneses.
Well, that's all right. That's good. I'm sorry. I'm just messing with Amanda. That's good, Amanda.
So
so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm sorry. As I pray for y'all, and I pray for y'all, and y'all ain't told me to pray for no man for you. Mr. Felder told me she's good where she is and all that stuff. But whenever y'all ask me to pray, I'm gonna ask them. Let me see their record first. Oh no, Pastor, but I see T on it. She honest about things. She gonna be straight out there.
But if God forbid something happens to my sweetie, it still won't be an issue because I don't want another husband.
Yeah, right.
I'm there.
You only said it because you heard me say that about Mr. Felder right now. and Mr. Felder, I know if somebody came with a 900 score, 1,000 credit score, she'd be done change her mind before we get off this app.
You know what, Pastor? One thing about it, when you ask somebody what you bringing to the table, you already got yours in order, so you already know what you bringing to the table. You can't I'm bringing a steak. I don't want you to bring a baked potato. I need you to bring another steak. Okay. So we're together. Because that's the one mistake we make. We assume because people can, they'll show you a different side to get you now. They'll come up there driving a Lexus, and for all we know, it could be rented. You know what I mean? So you got to be. So I want them to understand.
Now. You can call me out. You can go ahead and move on. Go ahead.
So
that's probably why First Lady didn't ask me for my credit report. She thought I had it going on.
Exactly. Yeah. You thought you had something going on driving a Lexus. Mm-hmm. Yes. We do always shout a question. We do that, First Lady. And that's the thing. We got to learn, even beginning of a relationship, we got to know what somebody's status is. Because if you're struggling, Tawana say, Pastor Lee, fool or fraud. This gonna be a good night, guy. So if you asking them, I'll say, I don't even want one now. He was a pastor.
Okay, I walked into that. I should have let you go ahead on, Miss Phil, to the
I'm
next.
trying.
Go ahead. I
But you know
I
the
done messed
thing.
up some of my colleagues now.
Yes. So and that's
I
what we
had a
have to learn.
archbishop for Amanda, but she done messed that up. Now go ahead.
Oh Lord, let me get back to the book.
Yeah.
So we got to know what Ecclesiastes 2 and 10:8 says. Amanda, those are the worst kids. She said, Amanda, those are the worst.
Who's saying that? That first lady?
Your first lady, your wife.
Pam.
Oh my
That
God.
Pam said. It's been so long now, Pam.
It don't even matter.
It don't even matter.
So
All
we
right,
got
you
to
go ahead on, Miss Fella, so we can get this thing rolling.
So
can't
we
even
got
out
to
the
get
first block.
we got to know that and then a lot of times if we take a self-examination, we know that we spend money out of debt to keep up with our neighbors, our friends.
Okay,
you
well,
know.
hold on. You got to start over that paragraph because.
Okay, however, debt is not the real culprit. It's only a symptom of four deeper problems like envy, greed, financial impatience, trying to impress other people. And one thing I want to point out, that's what the church used to do. We'll go to church and we want to outdress the person. Okay, first lady, this is it. We want to outdress the first lady because we got to be looking good. Knowing we can't afford to, we want to go in and we want to go to Macy's, Dillard's, and some of us need to go to Kmart, Walmart, because that's what our budget. We want to live a champagne lifestyle on a beer budget. And that's a lot of time why we went into debt because of other people.
Okay.
So sorry.
Some of y'all put in the chat, what was the symptom that you experienced that was the deeper problem? Because debt is the real corporate, but it's the deeper issue, which Mr. Felder named envy, greed, financial impatience, and trying to impress others, etc. Put in the chat, and share with others what was it that was your deeper issue.
Third lady said she ain't never been addressed. Okay.
Until I fooled her like I had a lot of money and I always buying her dress. Then like, why you don't buy me no dresses no more? I was like, well, I got you now and I can't afford. I really can't afford
and that's the issue right there, Furley. You heard what he said, right? He got you now, so he can stop buying dresses.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I thought we was asking for people to put in the what was your problem? Was it envy, greed, financial impatience? Mine was
okay, Pam got you. Pam said low self-esteem, and that does.
Okay. Okay, low self-esteem, that's good. Yeah. And tell us what you would do in the low self-esteem. What would you spend money on with your low self-esteem? Go in debt like that. Put that back up. Let me see what Tawana said again.
Tawana said that she was on a budget and she had to watch her on a budget. My mom always told us can't keep up with the Joneses. It's true, but everybody ain't got that there yet, Pam. And people are still not there yet. I mean, Tawana, that they on a budget. They don't realize that they don't put themselves on a budget. You know, a lot of time we blow our check because they'll blow a check on clothes and then they got food. So it varies with people. I need underfunds. Other parts, okay.
Is that? Go ahead, Miss. What is that?
Dresses, shoes, perfume. Okay. I thought would make me feel better.
Maybe I had a self-esteem issue then. I probably did.
Pam, I buy a lot of clothes, and I like the costume jewelry.
I might.
I'm all right now. Okay, Amanda. So that's the thing. Right, man. Yeah, and so Ecclesiastes 2:10 and 8 tells us.
I'm sorry. I'm all off. Y'all be quiet. Listen to the Bible. What the Bible say. I
deny myself nothing. My eyes desired. I refuse my heart no pleasure.
Now
that's the root of the debt problem. And Ecclesiastes clearly points it out. So, and when we get into the tools now, and to the 10 Commandments, the very first one, if you got your book, and I'm going to give you answer number 2. Thou shalt determine where that money is going. That's a very good point. I'm gonna give you a story before I get Pastor. What I used to do, everyone. My granddaughter loves McDonald's. I don't know who kid don't. So God told me to get a ledger, and I was writing down everything I was spending. I was going to McDonald's spending at least $11 every single day. I'm talking about 7 days a week. I sit down, that was $77 a week at McDonald's.
That ain't nothing.
On nothing.
Well, I'm just
Fries,
saying,
nuggets, and a soda.
Okay, well, you kind of made me feel better about mine, because I was spending I was spending about $30 a day between lunch and dinner. And I had to do that when I got sick. I couldn't go out, with this COVID thing. And so I didn't go out as much anymore. Then I realized that the money that I actually was spending.
And you think about, even for a month, I'm just gonna round up to 80. For a month alone, I was spending $320 a month at McDonald's. I mean, at McDonald's. So then when God had me try to just write it down, sometimes we can't visualize what we spend because we're spending. But when you start writing it down, you start seeing where your money goes. It's like using a roadmap. Before we can determine where we want to go, we must know where we are. And that's what it did. One of the keys to getting out of debt is finding out where our money is going. And I know sometimes it's hard. What another thing I've learned, Pastor, okay, you put up money, is keep your receipts. Whatever you spend in a week, keep those receipts. Whether you go to the grocery store, the gas station, the hair salon, you start keeping your receipt, you'll realize how much, and then we realize how much unnecessary money we spend. With $70 a week on McDonald's, how many meals can that be, Pastor? Let's be honest.
That's a lot, right? And
she said, great point. I wrote down dollar amount for different movies app, and it was added, and it does, First Lady. We don't even realize how we steady spending, and don't even realize where the money is going.
Well, that's good, because she used to get on my, well, still do to a degree with she might with this receipts. She asked me to go somewhere. I can go pick up some. If I have to go pick up a toothbrush or toothpaste, she want a receipt back. That's discipline, right? That's
right.
What we're trying to do. Got to figure out where we are and how we get out of it. So
Pastor, when you went to that store to pick up that toothbrush and toothpaste, what else did you buy that you was in the store that you didn't need? And then that's the thing, you add up. When we go in the store to get one thing, we come out with what? We go in for $5. We end up spending $30 and $35 on unnecessary items.
So what you do to you just got to discipline yourself.
You got to discipline, and I'm bad for that. I went to Walmart earlier to get some ground beef to make spaghetti. I got ground beef. I got, extra spaghetti, which I didn't need, more sauce, which I didn't need. I'm just using it as an example. Tawana, you get stuff that you don't need when you go in the store. I got sodas, didn't need them. And then you come out the store. And I'm like, I went in for one item and came back out with 3 bags. Right. We got to determine where our money is going. And if the best way to do that is to keep a record, and you got to keep honest, you got to be honest about what you're spending.
All right.
Yes, I write a list of what I need and try my best to stick to a good point. I need to write a list because I knew what I was going at, but I seen other stuff. And you know what I learned also, Pastor? Never go to a grocery store hungry.
Oh, okay.
Because you go in there, you're going to purchase, this look good. Let me try this. And we don't try that when we get home. I don't. I can just speak for me.
All right.
And then we getting back to using the book says, 3 says, the answer, I am so sorry. The answer for number 3 is $150 a month. Of taking lunch and work, you could save over $150 a month. And I'm going to throw out there to us, the members, how many of us buy stuff instead of cooking? I mean, because we live in a world we don't like to cook no more. Yes, it was $150. If we took lunches to work, and I don't work no more, so even when I did, I'm bad for that also. I always seen something I want. Yes, Sister Joy, and that's what happens, and we don't even need it. We'll go purchase it, and 9 times out of 10, when I get home, I don't even eat it.
All right.
This is using, if we go back and we save over $150 a month, this is using the principle of good accounting or keeping good records. Proverbs 27:23 says, be sure you know the condition of your flock. Give careful attention to your herds. And what Solomon is saying, was saying to the people in agricultural culture, watch your business, interest and money well. You got the only way to know where our money is going is keep track of it.
There's another example of accounting which we all are familiar with. Hold on just a second.
She said, I always buy my receipt. I go to buy 2 bottles of wine for gifts and buy 4, of course, for gifts.
I'm praying for you tonight. I'm praying for you tonight. So before we get off this air. Anyway, the other example of accounting, of which we scripture we all know, I think it's Matthew 18, that talks about about the sheep.
Right.
100 you have 99 one wanders away. That accounting there, he knew, the shepherd knew that one was missing, and the reason why he knew one was missing was because of the accountability. So that's
excellent point. And that's something that we got to learn, to be accountable. And you know what, that comes in with disciplining ourselves. We got to discipline ourselves. And I could be the first to say it's hard. And when we get into credit cards, I'm gonna show you why. I showed it to Pastor, and he was like, I didn't even know people had that many credit cards. And it's easy to get that. It's easy to get something.
Here's a tool for the discipline, helping with discipline. There is, and we're on page 28 for those of you who had the booklet. One of the tools is a home computer, a money management program from Quicken, or Microsoft Money. Helps with investments. And now most all the banks have now where you, it gives you a pie of where your money is going. Miscellaneous stuff. So if you have a bank account and you use your debit card and checking, go on the online to whatever your bank is, and mostly all of them have a pie graph of where your money is going. I think the reason it's so much more difficult to keep track of spending now is because we don't really use checkbooks anymore.
That's true. I agree.
Yeah. Well,
and you know what the sad part about it? Kids nowadays don't even know checkbooks exist because they come in with the debit card. They think that you got the card. Oh, she used her check. I don't even write. I very seldom write checks anymore.
She used the register, the check.
Oh, to keep an account of her.
Yeah, even with the debit cards and the receipts and all that stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. That's good. That's good. I got a ledger that I keep, and I pen. I keep the receipts and I staple them. And sometimes when I go back through them, they hurt my heart. To just know I spent that much money. A close analysis of where our money is being spent is necessary to develop a strategy to get out of debt.
Uh-oh.
You got the number 4. Okay. Obviously, we can't do without clothes, food, and shelter. But with a good plan, we can probably save a lot of money, even in those areas, to pay off some other debts. We must find out where our money, where we can save money each month and apply that money to paying off debt. And, Pastor, we do with these little things that we spend. If we just, plan it where, we put it down and write down what we are spending. All right, Sister Georgia, she still use checks. And we know what we're spending, then I'm more careful now. I'm not there yet, but I cut my McDonald's trip down to maybe 2 a week. from the 7, so I cut down 5 of them.
Let's ask if everybody that's listening, if you can put in the comment section where off the top of your head right now that you can say that you can put back some money. If you put that in the comment section, it gives other listeners ideas, and as this broadcast go throughout the week and throughout the world, others will see your suggestions, and you may not can keep up with it, but it may be something they can keep up with. Hopefully we can, and that's gonna be our prayer. So less trips to Walmart.
Okay? Yes, that's my store.
Yeah, I think that's her lunch. She strolls through Walmart for lunch, and that ain't good. Seems like. Then afterwards, you seem like
he just telling all your secrets.
I sure is. Damn right there.
And as Pastor,
but she bring me back some goodies, so I'll be
you good. So Pastor gonna do, when we get all those comments, try to see who's coming in. Pastor gonna take us to commandment number 2 to get out of
just
debt.
Go ahead and put them in. I'll back up and come back and get it. All right.
Pam said, "Let's eat it out." Michelle.
Well, yeah, that was for me too. Let's eat it out. Let us see. We have one credit card and pay it off.
That's very good strategy, Sister George. When we get to credit card, I'm embarrassed to say how many I've had.
I purchased bottles of. What's wrong? What? Did you get some bottles before you came on in the class today? She goes, I say, I got one right now. You want to come on here with us? Let me see what you're drinking. I'm gonna put a link in the comments so y'all come in here. All right. Hope you're. I know. I gotta tighten it up. Thanks. Good looking out, homegirl. You looking out. I'm gonna tighten it up a little bit because it ain't comfortable at all. So, all right, number two. Can you put? I gotta ask her to do something already. Can you put number 2 up there, please, sweetie?
Sweetie.
Commandment number 2. She won't even do it now. Look at that. Pam's a little too late on the morning. I get it. All right, there you go. Okay, now I'm lost. All right. Okay, so commandment number 2. Thou shalt determine the total amount of thy debt and devise a plan to pay it back. Oh, this is going to be good. I got to talk about bankruptcy. All right, the Bible teaches that borrowed money must be repaid. Must be repaid. Don't let wine cause you to forget you got to pay somebody their money. Now it's down. Put that glass down, Amanda. Put the glass down and back away. All right. Let's say, okay. So anyway, the Bible teaches, Amanda throwing me off, man. Okay. All right. The Bible teaches borrowed money must be repaid. So we are living in a day when many Christians feel no moral or spiritual obligation to repay. Now we just living in a day we just don't feel like we got to repay. Maybe not you, but you probably have experienced some friend, some church mother, or no, I ain't gonna say mother, but somebody at the church that owed you some money, but they feel like they don't have to pay. It's a sense of entitlement, especially with our younger kids, younger folk. That sense of entitlement that we have created, this type of culture. It's all on us. So here's the thing: what we wasn't teaching. That's not. I am trying to help. I'm trying to help. So this is what we haven't been teaching. I wonder if you knew this was in the book, in the Bible. The Bible teaches us here in Psalms 37. Psalms 37 says, "It is wickedness to borrow and not repay." Did y'all know that?
You're right.
I didn't know that, did you? Let me put that up again. Did you know that, Amanda? If I could see right now, okay. So to get out of debt, we must know the total amount of our debt, which Minister Felder talked about. We got to face it. Somebody said that we just, I think you said it, Mr. Felder, you didn't want to face and look
Right.
at all what you owe. So we got to get the guts and open the mail, face the music. Now somebody said the other week that this stuff sounds good, but it's not realistic.
Right.
That's far from the truth. It sounds good and it is good because number one, it's biblical
Right.
what we're teaching, but it's going to take faith and it's going to take action. This is something that I've said over and over again. This is something that you can't just get the preachers come. And we did this to y'all. We did this. You can blame me for this, Amanda. Not me, but the next time. I'm gonna put you on. I'm gonna put. If I had time, I'll put you the link so you can come on now. But anyway, so what we have done is that we prayed and not taught these particular lessons. We prayed for you. We've anointed you, and we told you to turn around 3 times. And if you clap your heels on the 3rd time and run around the church about 3.5 times. Then you'll have a brand new house,
right?
And everything gonna be paid for. All this stuff, somebody gonna send you something in the mail. But what we're doing is telling you lies because we have principles. If we're gonna be Christians, now I'm only talking to the Christian. We have Christian principles in order to experience the true blessings of God. We have to follow his principles.
Right.
Obedience is better than sacrifice. You're right. So you that's good. Now you get an A for that, Amanda. That so maybe you hadn't had too many glasses of wine, but you good. That's good. Thank you. That's witchcraft. You're exactly right. That's a form of witchcraft. So because this what will happen. This going somewhere else with this, but it's in the same thing. Satan, and we talked about it last night. Satan has power, but he doesn't have all power. So we can go to the witch doctor. We can go to what they call them, all these different things, even the preacher, and ask for certain stuff, and Satan allows it. He allows it to happen. He allowed it to happen because what that does is not a true blessing. It's a blessing to keep you farther away from looking at the principle of God to get a true blessing that's solid, that you can't, because if you notice, let me say it like this. If you notice, and if you be honest, the same people that's in need all the time, they're in need all the time because they're not getting the true blessing. Right. They're not following in the principle. So they may get a little something for a moment, and then before you know it, they back because there's no biblical principles behind what they're doing. So to get out of debt, we must get all this stuff, get the debt, get all this stuff that we owe, pile it on the table, and go through it. You can cry, call me, I'll message me, I'll pray for you. Well, you can cry, your heart can hurt. But you have to do it.
Right.
You have to do it in order to know where you are. So let's see here. Let's jump down to an in-depthness chart. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. If you have a piece of paper, and those of you that have the booklet, if you go to page 51, there's a chart back there. But if this is with an in-depthness chart, but if you have paper, you can write down these, take a snapshot of this, screenshot, write down creditor and draw a line, put it in a column. Then remaining debt, put that in a column. Monthly payment, put that in a column. Remaining payments. And then add all that up, total up your debt, and total up the payment each month. And then once you get this chart and all that stuff, not unless you have a register or what you call a ledger or something to that nature that has these particular items listed so that you know what you're aiming at. And as you're putting in your strategy where you can start cutting back on money, and we're going to talk about this later on about dealing with credit cards. You start putting that money towards knocking out, I think the smallest bill first.
Yes,
The
I would.
smallest bill first. So if you need to stop buying soda pop, my dad would say soda water, whatever that is. I don't know. That's actually from Greenwood, South Carolina. But soda water, put back buying some soda water at work, so much snacks, and we all can stand to lose a few pounds. Right, Mr. Felder?
I knew you was going there, but
Yeah,
you
you
right.
just said it. You said I didn't
You
say
right.
it. I'm just saying. And
But
so this
Pastor, also you can put in there that, you know, if you got a credit report, like a credit app, like Credit Karma, all those apps, they also do a pie, and they break down all your debt for you too. So you could pull it from that. If you don't want to write it down, you can actually pull it from those different apps. Put all your debt there for you. And they even put down, you know, the lines when you pay, how much you owe. They breaks it down like that as well.
Now, we talked about for the single people out there. Sometimes the Lord haven't given us that real man of God or that real woman of God, because y'all talked about it already earlier in the intro. Because if this man is really following God's principles, God ain't gonna take him to somebody that is messed, you know, that's messed up financially.
Actually, right.
Right? Because y'all even said it. Y'all some good Christian. Only seen the women make the comment, but y'all some good Christian women. If that's what y'all gonna do, for those of you just coming on, the lady said early on. I still don't know what Tawana meant. Said, but the rest of them, a lot of them said that they're gonna start asking for a people credit report before they actually get far into the relationship. Or I don't know how soon, but somewhere in there for you, soon, before you start getting serious and start falling in love with that other stuff Amanda put up there. Anyway, okay, so after determining the amount of your indebtedness, we must acknowledge our responsibility, where we went wrong, how we got there. Now, I want to encourage you. We didn't get there overnight.
Right.
We didn't get into that overnight. So it's not so we're not gonna get out of it overnight. All right. So we got to just take responsibility of how we got there and start working our way out. To repay our debts on time, we need to claim the promise found in 1 John. 1 John says what this child, what Miss Amanda say? Let me see. Check. You're right. You're right. You's right. Get it all. Might as well. And do it when, Mr. Felder?
Soon.
Early.
Early.
All right. So 1 John said, if I confess my sin, and we already established that owing people and not paying them back is a wickedness. So if I confess with my sins, God is faithful and just and will forgive my sins and purify me from all unrighteousness. All right. Yeah. Okay. So, hey, Miss Sheila. All right. So the word confess means to agree with. So the Bible teaches it is wicked not to repay our debts, according to Psalm 67 that we read earlier, 37. If we have been delinquent in repaying our debts, then we must agree that with God, that his word says in Psalms 37. For those just coming on, I'm going to put it up real quick. I hope I got it. Yep. It is wicked to borrow and not repay. So if we agree with God that yes, your word is right and I have sinned, we should specifically confess any debt that we have not repaid that we should have. Then we must thank God for his forgiveness and not feel guilty anymore. Just let it go. Now, rather than letting our mental and physical energy be eaten up by guilt, we can use that energy to get out of the debt. All right. So after confessing our sin, we must ask God to help us to get out of debt. It may seem impossible. And that's what I said earlier. All of this sounds good that somebody mentioned last week, that it sounds good, but it's not realistic. But Matthew 19:26 tells us everything is possible with God. Everything is possible with God. Doesn't matter what it is. And this is one, especially if we want to be richly blessed by him. So getting out of debt is an exercise of faith. So the word faith has an acronym of fantastic. The F is for fantastic. I meant to put that in the system. A is for adventure. I is in. T is trusting. And H is him. Fantastic, adventure, in trusting him. God wants us out of debt even more than we want to be out of debt, so he can bless us, truly bless us even the more. So if we don't want to be counted among the wicked, we must repay our debts on time. And this fact alone should cause Christians to think twice about borrowing for any reason. So this should think twice about borrowing for any reason and from any place, like the money markets.
Market, yeah, you got that.
What's that other place with you get trade your
I've
goods
got
and
Cash
stuff?
Advance, the
Cash
place
Advance.
American Cash Advance, places like those with the interest rate is a killer. Payday loans, you got to be careful with those as well.
Yeah, title loans, that kind of stuff,
right?
Because their interest is like 29.
It's astronomical. Yes,
29% paying back. All right. If it is wicked, if once we don't repay and it goes on our credit report for 7 years, all right, that's a good point. We're gonna talk about that in commandment number 3, and that's where we are right now. But before we go into commandment number 3, I'm going to talk about bankruptcy, because bankruptcy is not, of course, you don't have to pay it back. And so, actually, let me wait on that, and I'm gonna put it in with the. Wait a minute, put that back up.
I'm sorry, tomorrow so they can have it because ain't nobody go get a car. She was talking about the title. She said nobody. I agree, Tawana.
I'm trying not. Okay. All right now. All right. Okay. So they'll get it too. They want it. That's why they're doing it. A borrow from anyone knowing that you won't bring
exactly.
it back.
And a lot of people do that, Amanda. They are schemers. They know that you got a wicked, right? And they know you got a heart to give, and they would try you. Honest. And the worst one that's do that is most of your family. Because they know you got a heart, and they give you that sad story, and they think they're entitled to something, and they won't pay you back.
Well, the next time they come to you, tell them you wicked, some another, get out.
And that's true.
Whatever.
And then, Pastor, well, you know what I did
and
when
there's a lot of people in church that will come up and call you after worship service, or come tug on you after worship service. Then you gave them some one time, and they still ain't paid you back from that, but they got all the nerve to come again.
And another thing too, if you limit, like what you can, but I limit my family when they don't burn me over. $20 is a max. That's all you can get from me. If it's over 20, you have to ask somebody else.
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice. How I do it.
Because this is what I'm do. That's the max.
That's the kind of exactly.
Yeah, after you done burnt me.
Yeah, they have that. Yes, and you have to.
All right. But now, with that said, though, now let me say this: the Bible also says now, if you do loan money. Now we're talking about the borrower, but the lender, if we lend money to people, family, or whatever, we are not to expect it back.
Yes.
So you can't go clapping back and all that other stuff we like to do. you gotta write it off and just don't do it no more. But you can't hold no
Yes.
grudge, or be envy, be mad, and all this other stuff. But so that with that said, you give what you can afford
To give away.
lose, to
Yes.
give away. You let somebody borrow what you can afford to give away. Now, if you get it back, hey, that's all good. That's cherry. But Gucci, I think that's what they like to say, Tawana, right? So that's all Gucci. But if they don't, hey, don't you can't be going off and all that stuff. All right. So now, all right. So number 3, commandment number 3. Thou shalt not presume on future earnings. Debt is borrowing against your future, presuming on your future earnings to pay for present purchases. So when we borrowing, don't go get a loan for so many years, a whole bunch of years paying interest, because you borrowing on your future. All right. Let's see here. Buy things on credit, never pay back. Let's go to page number 30. And we got about 10 more minutes left. Y'all hang in here with us. We almost done. This probably gonna take 5 minutes. So just hang in here with us for a couple more minutes. All right. So when we try to justify our actions when we are borrowing and not paying back, if the product does not live up to its expectations, this probably talking to Tawana about her car. Let me see. Product does not live up to the expectations, or if we have financial reverses. Now, you off the hook, Tawana. However, there is little difference between stealing and not paying back. So there's a little, just a small difference. There's a thin line between not repaying and stealing. But of course, we already talked about 1 John, where if you confess it to the Lord, he will forgive you, and you won't have that guilt. Now, with that said, bankruptcy, of course, you can give. You want to put it on silent, or you can't evaporate. So I lost my train of thought here. All right. So bankruptcy. If you get bankruptcy, of course, or file for bankruptcy, of course, you're not paying the money back. So the closest thing that the Bible talks about bankruptcy is it won't classify you as wicked, but it will classify you according to Deuteronomy 15. And it says, and at the end of every 7 years, you shall grant a remission of debts. This is the matter of remission. Every creditor shall release what he has loaned to his neighbor. He shall not exact it on his neighbor, or put it on his neighbor and his brother, because the Lord's remission has been proclaimed. So after 7 years, so this is after 7 years, you are set free from it. So even now, Sister White, if you would put back, no, we good. You just need to put that wine down. That's all. Now, Sister White, you can put your comment.
Your comment about the 7 years, right?
About the 7 years. Okay. So is it still okay? So that answered that question. Is it still wicked if once we don't repay and it goes on our credit report for 7 years? And I'm be honest. That's what I did to get my credit was so jacked up. I was so jacked up at one point of my life, and so what I decided to do when I tried to take hold of my circumstances as far as debt is concerned, I froze everything. I didn't buy nothing on credit for 7 years. I couldn't afford I couldn't afford to even pay um I couldn't afford to even pay uh bills. So of course a lot of stuff went on the credit. Now, also what also happens, what I learned about credit is that if you do try to make payments, and first lady, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Before as I remember, if you make payments on a delinquent bill that's on your credit, if you make a small payment, um, hey, just put your hand up when you're ready to come back. Um, so if you're ready to once you have those 7 years, and what I did was I didn't put nothing on credit. I didn't get no more credit, which I probably couldn't get anything on credit anyway. So I didn't buy no more cars. I could get a car. Uh, so so I let 7 years pass, and those 7 years passed. So all the credit, bad credit, was off. So I had to I had an opportunity to start a clean slate. Now, the thing what I was saying was that sometimes if you pay on a credit and you're not going to pay it out, and you know you're not going to pay it out, but you just send them something so they can start writing. What that does is starts the 7 years
Yes, all
back
over.
over
Mhm.
right then and there.
Yeah.
So you probably couldn't done waited 3 years, and you said, "Well, I'm going to send them something just to keep them quiet." So now now the 7 years have started over. Okay, all right. Um, so that's a good question. I hope that answers there. So when Christians go into debt, and we're closing with this, they jeopardize their futures because biblical principles and ethics require debt to be repaid in full. So James 4:14 tells us, let's see here. All right. I don't know what we don't know what tomorrow will bring. So we don't want to take loans for tomorrow. I mean, we don't want to get a whole lot of loans on our future because we don't know. Um, our life is just a vapor. The rest of that says our life is just a vapor. It will vanish away. It's just like that. We can be here tonight. And that's why Amanda said we need to ask forgiveness before we get off the line tonight, because we can be gone tomorrow. So, but the thing is, so you done took some unnecessary loans that's stretching into the future, and now, that's a burden on your family have to pay when you dead and gone, especially if you don't leave them nothing to pay it with. All right. Okay. So any questions out there so far? Any questions? We're gonna pick up commandment 4 and 5 next week. So any questions out there? Amanda, you want to get a benediction? Yeah, Pastor, I get a communion. How about the Lord's Supper today? We have no questions, no comments. Okay. All right then. Well, we enjoyed you all. Thank you so much. Hope you learned a little something, but this is unpopular stuff. I ain't do the unpopular. So that God's people can be truly set free, not this play stuff. I'm truly set free. And so the things we deal with is the Bible. She gonna get she gone now. All right. All right, man. We're gonna pray for you. Miss Felder, you want to say a short prayer for us real quick?
Okay.
Since
Yes.
Miss Felder did, Miss Amanda did say we need to pray.
Yes, she did. You too, Tawana. Oh, gracious God, we come to you tonight. Thank you, Lord, for learning how we get out the 10 commandments of debt. Lord, we
Okay, I lost her for some reason, but we will continue. Lord, we thank you for Um, we thank you for allowing us to study your word. God, we want true deliverance. We want true blessings, real blessings from you. Um, we bind any type of witchcraft that has been spawned on us uh, uh, by uh, witch doctors, by Jezebel spirits that has placed us in financial difficulties, that have not given us true freedom out of debt. But not only that you have asked us to tithe and give back to you, but there's another 80% that you want us to manage well. And you said in your word, if we manage those things, that other 80% well, that you will increase our territory, that you will give us even the more, because we have taken care of what you have entrusted us with. We pray blessing on each person that's listening tonight. We pray that your protection from any scheme or scammer that's out there, and that you will give them true financial blessing and freedom. For it's in your name we pray. Amen. All right. All right. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you on Sunday. Sunday, we're going to be talking about the fear of death. The fear of death, how to overcome fearing death. My last breath at 11 o'clock. We look forward to seeing you then. All right. God bless you. We love you. Take care.
Good night.
Amanda, put that glass down.